Chance to catch up with Shane Steichen today, talking about training camp, talking about the quarterbacks. How the quarterbacks go, that's kind of how this team's going to roll. Here's Shane Steichen talking about whether the Colts were able to create the edge that he was trying to create during training camp.
Well, I think we did, absolutely did that. I think the way we practiced during training camp, we had, I think, over, I think it was about 400 more reps than we've had last year compared to this year. And I think just getting those reps and creating those edges and the sudden change opportunities, the long drive drills we did. Like I said, I think it's going to, all these games come down to the fourth quarter, and you got to have an edge in the fourth quarter. And you create that in training camp on how you practice and how you prepare. And I thought our guys attacked it the right way all through training camp, and then finished in the preseason the right way. I was very pleased with that.
And then since you made the QB decision, has Anthony talked with you specifically about, where he is at with his spot within the franchise, doubts about that, concerns about that, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with him. Obviously, he's our backup quarterback right now and still attacking it the right way, coming in, being a pro, getting in here early, taking care of his body, rehab treatment, and then in the QB room, preparing like you're the starter. I think we got a great QB room with really bright minds in there, and everyone kind of ping pongs off each other. And then on the practice field, making sure he's working on his fundamentals and details, running the scout team, making sure that's on point and getting better there. And then obviously when meetings are over, making sure we're watching cut-ups, third down, red zone, all those things throughout the week, knowing that, he's one play away from playing.
Jake?
Yeah, throughout camp and the preseason, you're obviously focused on two guys for this spot. But throughout the process, were there any aha moments with Daniel where if we go with this guy, we're going to be all right? Were there any moments that really stuck out like that?
Well, I think he made some plays in training camp, some checks, some protection stuff to get us in the right situations, to hit some big plays that were huge for us. And those things are going to come up in the game, and feel very confident in his abilities to get us in and out of the right place.
So it's more of the cerebral part that you saw where you're like, okay, I'm glad he saw that because, that's going to bail us out a little bit.
Yeah, and then, when if something was wrong and, he made a mistake, he did a good job of correcting it right away. And when we came back to it, he made it right.
Greg?
Shane, when Jason Bean came here a year ago, the thought was he would try quarterback and then perhaps move to receiver. It was kind of no secret. Maybe I'm 24 hours ahead of myself, but is there been any talk of switching him to receiver if he's back, if he'd like to come back?
We're working through that. I'll say this about Jason Bean. He's done a really nice job for us. Obviously in the preseason games, he showed up. He played really well for us. So we're working through that right now, Greg.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just a couple more here, James.
Shane, obviously football is a team sport, but with Daniel, he's coming here to, I guess, prove something. I would imagine individually as well. So have you picked up on any of that, just as far as him wanting to show okay, yeah, things might not have ended or gone the way I wanted to at my last stop, but obviously I'm 28 and I want to be a good quarterback in this league?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a new opportunity for him. And I think the guys, have opened him with open arms since he got here. And he's been working his tail off. And I think, in this league, when sometimes guys move around and they get a new, scenery, it could be very beneficial for him. But like I said, I've liked the way he's worked, the way he's prepared since he's been here since day one. He's been really good, working, doing everything right. So it's been good. So I'm excited for his opportunity.
And then one quick follow-up. I hear you and other coaches often say, prepare like you're a pro. What does that look like? And and is the early factor a big part of it, getting somewhere early, doing extra early work? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a player.
Yeah.
Work the same if you do it at 8 a.m. versus 6 a.m. or how do you view it?
Yeah, I think everyone has the routines, but I kind of hit on it, with what Kevin said. I think, as the quarterback, being in here, going through your routine, whether it's getting in the cold tub, the hot tub, getting your body right, or getting in the film room early, getting a head start on the game plan. I think that's all part of it, all encompassing. And then, when you're in the meetings, being locked in, preparing the right way, taking, meticulous notes, and then going out on the practice field and executing that with your fundamentals and your details, and getting the corrections after practice. And then after practice, watching extra cut-ups, doing all those little things, and going through your process to be successful.
Andrew?
Shane, with this being your third year, how does this cut down day compare to your previous two? And is it just more challenging based on the makeup of the roster?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think every year's got, its challenges and uniqueness to it. When you're cutting down, it's obviously a tough 2 days with these guys because a lot of these guys put in really good work. And when you have to release someone, it could be a new opportunity for them somewhere else. And when you do release them, hopefully you got a chance to get them back on practice squad so you can continue to develop those guys. So obviously a tough time of year, for a lot of guys that it's part of the business. You got to make some tough decisions. But overall, I thought a lot of the guys, like I said, they worked their tail off. We had a lot of good guys, in camp that did it the right way. So I was just really pleased with the group as a whole this year.
And we'll do last two questions here, Chap and then Kevin.
Shane, we've asked you this before, at least I have, but you guys have worked on the quarterbacks, you've worked on the line and the receivers, and Lou's worked on the defense. With the run game, JT has one carry, which no one expected a lot more. Is it just faith in what you've got on him to know that he'll be ready come September 7th?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, he's been so consistent over his career, just showing up for us when we need a big play and just have all the faith and confidence in him that he's going to be ready to roll. He got a ton of reps during training camp. So really pleased with where he's at. I think, obviously he's a big time player, as you guys know. So I feel really confident, in his abilities going into the season.
Do you still kind of adhere to that throw to score, run to win? Is that still your the way you want to build this?
Yeah, I do. I mean, that's my philosophy. But that can change each week, Chap. You know what I mean? You go through game plans and you might say, hey, this might be a game where we need to run it, more than we throw it. If they're giving us a light box or what it may be and how they're playing, on the back end and coverages and how we can attack them. And I always kind of go with, what's working. You know what I mean? If we're throwing it good, why stop throwing it? And if you're running it good, why stop running it? Don't do something, that you don't want to do. That ain't going to work. So I think, we just need to be very meticulous with that week in and week out as we go through our game plans.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Shane, what's Ashton Doolin dealing with? I think he missed a few days last week.
Yeah, he got a concussion in practice, but he's progressing well. He should be ready to roll.
There's Shane Steichen talking about the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks are still a story. Daniel Jones is going to have to play to the quality of a starting quarterback, or they got to make a change. That's where we are. Daniel Jones has not proven anything in the regular season. He gets his chance on September 7th to begin that process. We'll see if he can do it. Hopefully he can. If he can't, there's Anthony Richardson. We'll see what happens with the quarterback position. Riley Leonard played well last weekend, but I got to tell you, all of this, like, hey, let's go Riley, that's wonderful. But he's a third-string quarterback. He's a sixth-round draft pick out of Notre Dame by way of Duke. Yes, he played really well against the 3s and 4s of the Cincinnati Bengals. But you know what? That's better than not playing well against the 3s and 4s of the Cincinnati Bengals. That's for sure. But we'll see how Daniel does. We'll see how Anthony does. We'll see how Riley does. We'll see how Jason does moving forward. One of those guys, and it's probably going to be Jason, is going to get waived and then re-signed to the practice squad if he's not claimed. That's the way that kind of thing goes. Cut day, you heard Shane Steichen talk about it. It's kind of galling because you're going to have to cut some good football players. And make no mistake about it, while they're going to be happy for the guy who gets picked up by another team, they're going to feel like, man, what? I wish we still had that guy. He's going to go over there. And if that guy kills it over there, then they look silly, don't they? Of course they do. Shane Steichen, not worried about that. He's worried about September 7th.